Thank you, Ian. So Ian should be a dance instructor. What do you think? Yeah, I think he can actually make a killing, teaching people like me who have two left feet to dance. Right? Okay, so we are at that point where we have an interesting panel. People who've been there, done that, bought a t-shirt. I don't know what they do with a t-shirt. But maybe we can start by just getting an intro. So we're talking about dual transformation. Earlier on, I talked about digital transformation. Sometimes these terminologies can be very confusing. So to remove that confusion, we have a panel that will be able to navigate this for us. So maybe we can, Presta, you've already introduced yourselves, yeah? But maybe just for the people who are not in the room, maybe you can just introduce yourself quickly, and then we get to this panel.
Okay. Good morning once again. So my name is Presta Mbiwa. I work for SACCO. I lead the team that looks at technology risk, digital product, and data analytics. Yeah, at the regulator.
So you're the regulator that Ian was talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sydney?
Good morning. My name is Sydney Shlako, Chief Manager ICT and Operational at STEMA SACCO, the second largest SACCO in Kenya and Africa.
Who disagrees? Who disagrees? Raise your hand. Okay, so nobody disagrees, eh? Okay. Ebole?
Well, in Sydney, so. Name is Kelvin Ebole, ICT and Business Innovations Manager, Safaricom SACCO. And if you are throwing flowers to our SACCO, then we are the most innovative SACCO.
All right. Muya?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Fidelis Muya, currently working with the Kenya Bankers Association. If I'm to brag, I bank all these days. You may be wondering what I am doing in a SACCO event. I've been a member of a SACCO since 1989. I first joined Securico SACCO. I don't know whether they are here. Then Kenya Bankers SACCO. So I've been a member since 1996. And I'm still running strong. So I have a passion for SACCO industry.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So very quickly, I like first principles. Because I think if you get the first principles and the foundations right, then it becomes easy to build on top of that. So maybe, and I'll throw it to the panel, whoever wants to begin. Maybe we start with the first principles. What is dual transformation? Anybody can take it.
That is not in my Mwakenya. So
it's not. I know it's not. I know it's not. What is dual transformation?
If I would take a stab, it's a transformation from both the technology side and the operations side. So you're not looking at transforming just the ICT, because that's what everybody thinks about when you talk innovation.
Yes.
I'm innovating, I've gotten the new latest core banking, I've got the latest mobile.
Yeah.
But then if your back office is still manual, then clearly you have not transformed. So you need to look at both the aspect of the business operations side, transform that, and then facilitate that by transforming the ICT that then facilitates the services. That's what I would say.
Okay. Sydney?
Okay, this is just me thinking. I look at it. There's technology, and then there's people. you can implement the best technology, but if you don't carry the people along, then that technology will be useless. So the way I look at it is that you're also transforming both your technology as well as carrying your people along with it, because culture is one of them, because culture is people. So the two have to go hand to hand for you to succeed. And that's me thinking about it.
Okay. No, I think I agree, because if you're going to transform a business, you need to look at both operations, and I think that's in my opening presentation I sort of intimated to that. But then when we look at digital transformation, now we're zeroing into digital transformation. What are the key technologies that you guys are seeing that SACCOs can actually leverage on? So we're having a conversation. So if you want to speak. It's easy.
Yeah, so I can probably just proceed with the conversation. And when you look at technologies, and we have vast opportunities, especially in the SACCO sector. And every time I have conversations with people on what we can do as a SACCO, it normally come back to then, what are you doing that is unique to your problems? Because we have a way of looking at what Stima SACCO is doing and say we want to replicate that. And we've had a number of mentions. I know we're talking about artificial intelligence, and big data, which is, according to me, is quite huge and an opportunity that you need to focus on as SACCOs. One of the downfalls that we have even in creating our products is not knowing for whom we are creating these products for. Look at most of us as SACCO members here. Most of our products, for instance, I know 90 or 80% of us have a development loan that runs at 1% per month, 12% per annum. And you have other similar products that are running at the same only for a shorter period of time. But is that really unique to your customers? Is that really unique to your members? So when you're looking at the opportunities in technology, then you need to see how are you going to work it out. And this is where now I bring in artificial intelligence and big data, is you need to understand exactly who your customers are and customize products that will suit your members. And I want to throw in an analogy just for guards. At some point today at 11:59, all of us will have a common problem. All of us will be hungry, for instance. But it does not mean that if Harry, your solution to this hunger problem is Githeri, it does not mean that that is also my solution. We need to understand that my solution to that hunger problem may be different. Maybe it speaks of something else. So with artificial intelligence, for me, and I'm speaking at that as a technology aspect, is we need to unpack and understand our customers in a way that we can offer them something that is unique and speaks to their problem. So that is just one that I had in mind.
While I would agree with that, what I'm looking at is using technology to get the members to tell you what it is they would like from the SACCO. The traditional SACCO, like he mentions, is where you just have two products, savings and loans. I put maybe 30% or 20% of my salary on a standing order, and then I occasionally borrow and repay. And that is the traditional offering of all the SACCOs. But now if everybody's, like he's saying, offering the same, then what makes this SACCO a better SACCO than the other SACCO? The way you manage the funds, the way you leverage on the savings to generate more revenue for the growth of the SACCO, and that is where business intelligence comes in. You look at the transaction profile of these customers, you say, what is it they are doing, what is it they want, how can we offer it, and how can we develop revenue streams out of it. Because like today, most SACCOs, beyond the normal savings from customers, what else can they do to generate revenue? Because everybody wants to save, but I want 15% on my savings. But what is the cost of that 15% to the SACCO? Are they able to give that? So they need to look at diversifying their product portfolio to generate more revenue for the SACCO to be able to offer better returns on the savings. So the business analytics element of the SACCO to identify opportunities to grow their revenue and serve the members better becomes a very, very good offering.
Okay. Yeah. I think SACCOs have started looking at their members differently, where you put the member at the center of everything. Then you look, what does this member want to do? And then it drives what technologies will apply. Because SACCOs are moving away from the normal, the way Fidelis is saying, just savings and loans. Now SACCOs will do full banking. I'll give you a card, I'll give you mobile banking, I'll give you internet banking. So we are keeping money within the SACCO industry and not where I used to take a loan, transfer it to the bank, and then now do whatever I was doing. If you're buying a house, then how do I keep that money within the SACCO? I give you a mortgage, but then you don't send that money to a bank. Can I enable you to pay your vendor from the SACCO? So I think the way SACCOs are changing, and it's a good discussion, is can we bank that member within the SACCO without then necessarily that money coming out of the SACCO industry?
I think I'll just start where Sydney has reached. I think the digital channels are really making SACCOs the financial institution of choice for their members, which was not the case before. And we have seen digital channels being actually overtaking the other traditional channels from our perspective. Those channels, the omni-channels, are also working well in improving financial inclusion, especially for the SACCOs that are in the rural areas. The one we can describe as unbanked. So those channels are really improving the lives of people in the rural areas. Now they can wholly rely on SACCOs as their financial institution, that existence of more channels that you can access your funds is giving the confidence to members to retain their money within the SACCOs. You know, before what used to happen is I receive my salary in a SACCO, but the access to that money is limited. So I tend to move it maybe to a bank or to another institution that is easier to access. But now the channels have made that a thing of the past. So now members are comfortable with retaining their money within the SACCOs. So since they know when I walk into a supermarket and I want to spend it, I can access it immediately and make payments or maybe transfer to someone else. So the digital omnichannel is actually a revolution, and especially to the people who want to rely to a SACCO as their main institutional or their main financial institution. Yes.
So thank you. So there's a huge opportunity for SACCOs to leverage on technology. Of course, for the benefit of the member and the SACCO itself, because the SACCO needs to remain sustainable. But we still see massive ledger books in some SACCOs, especially when you travel to my home village. What's happening? Why are we? So you go to the HQ, you find an interesting office, good systems working, but then when you go downstream, you don't see that. Why is there a disconnect?
If you ask me, I think that is more, we need to start thinking outside of the box of SACCOs. And as rightfully put it, when SACCOs came up, we were more like a pyramid scheme. I know you, let's put our money under the mattress, then you're going to take of it. And that traditional way of thinking is what is defining the services that most SACCOs provide to their members right now. And if you look at how even banking institutions are also transforming in how they're doing their business, you find that they are a bit versatile. With technology right now, I know most banks are going branchless. Most are actually coming up with innovations on how we can offer good services to our customers. Now, to what you just mentioned, the challenge is basically on us as the people running innovations within our SACCO societies, because if we still stick to the traditional way of this is how it was done, and my customers back then in 1956 when my SACCO was established did not trust any other way of doing business. they had to walk into a branch with a ledger or something and have their monies, And if we still think that that is exactly how SACCOs need to operate right now, I think that is the mindset that we need to get away from. And sadly, that is where most SACCOs are still stuck. And the problems that you're facing or we're talking about right now are more or less around this because as a SACCO, I'm afraid to make that bold move. Why? Because I'm a SACCO. Why? Because I'm smaller than a bank. Come on. I think we can do much better because we have the ideas, and right now, looking at how the SACCOs have actually transformed, we are no longer just any other institution that is there to provide savings and credits. There's much more we can do. Speaking for ourselves, for instance, we do not advocate for branches. We are basically virtual. And what that means is that as a SACCO member, with my main account at the SACCO right now, I can do everything that was actually mentioned. I can go to a supermarket and do my transactions. What the bank offers, we as SACCOs need to offer much more than that. We need to stop hiding under this shell and try and move away from it and just trust that we can do much more than we think we are doing.
Mm-hmm. I think if I pick from where you go head office, it's different. You go to a branch, it's different. Technology is an equalizer because the same service you'll get on your mobile is the same service that I'll get on my mobile. But if I go to one branch to the next, because of the people element, you'll get good service in one branch. When you go to the next one, the service is not the same. So as SACCOs implement technology, then you'll have that experience that you want when you go to head office, the SACCO you are in. I don't want to mention the one. Yeah, so using technology then, because the service becomes across the channels that you touch, it's the same. And for any member, then the service is the same. Whether you're using USSD app, technology becomes an equalizer for such services. Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing is about. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not using your Mokenya, but because I wanted it to be a natural conversation. So the other thing is about the Gen Zs and their habits. How many Gen Zs do we have here? No, you're not a Gen Z, but how many Gen Zs do we have? Okay, so this is a different crop of people, and I don't know. Do you have strategies to attract those guys, to attract the Gen Zs or even some of the millennials? Are there strategies the SACCOs have put in place? Because they're technology first, they're mobile first. They may not need a loan to build a house because they don't care about houses. They're in the sharing economy. They believe everything should be shared, including cars and houses. So, do you have strategies to attract this kind of members?
It's a very funny thing you're bringing that up because I feel like that's the conversation we should be having.
Okay.
When I mentioned 1956, whether we like it or not, our SACCOs will eventually have only Gen Zs and the other, crop of generations coming up as customers, whether we like it or not. So we need to be prepared, like you mentioned, with the strategies. And right now, one thing that we need to understand is that technology is the driving factor right now with Gen Zs. And even as Sydney had mentioned, technology is the equalizer. We need to look at our strategic plans, even as SACCOs, for instance. We need to have a solid IT strategic pillar that is driving. And I always mention this whenever we are having discussions about how innovations and technology can actually impact Gen Zs. We need to understand that technology is no longer a supporting role in SACCOs. It should be a driver. And when you look at it that way, then it means you need to have technology, the various strategies in place to deal with these customers. For instance, if you're looking at transactional basis for the Gen Zs, I don't think you expect them to actually walk to your branch and queue and they'll come in and see 5-10 people ahead of them, and they're going to complain on Twitter how your services are not good. Then it means you need to think beyond that. Look at that problem statement. What do they anticipate from you as a SACCO? Then you need to ensure that, look at your business model, look at your processes. We need to have a robust, for instance, mobile banking or internet banking platform. But even as you do that, do not just give them something that, I can do my transaction and that's it. Then you need to think outside the box. Yes, I can do my transactions, but what else can we do in these channels? And this is where now the value-added services, and the consultation span of Gen Z is basically what that means is they easily get distracted. And the distraction also, there's some joy that comes with it. Meaning that if you are building up a platform that is supposed to appeal to them, distract them in a way that is going to attract them. Let it distract them positively. So when you're building, your services, you're innovating around this. When you're looking at your, like I mentioned, AI, you are understanding your customer base. You know their demographics. You know exactly what they need. You need to be very careful to speak to them. So basically, my parting shot on this particular point is that whether we like it or not, Gen Zs and the other generations coming are our customers. We as SACCOs need to stop beyond the traditional way of thinking that the 80-year-old customers that we had are the same ones that you're going to have going forward.
Interesting. Where's that Gen Z? Just stand up. Can you give him a microphone? Yeah. What's your name?
Oh, sorry. My name is Daniel Omari. I'm a SACCO officer. I'm with the Gen Z SACCO of choice. A very useful SACCO. It's called Mimina SACCO. Yeah, but I have a question.
No, I have a question. No. Okay. No, I have a question for you. Okay. So why did you join your SACCO?
Well, first because it's a youthful SACCO. It has youthful products, which favors
No, I want it's succinct. Just be very clear.
Yeah.
So what is a youthful product? That doesn't mean anything to me.
I mean, at this age, I'm not looking to buy land. I'm looking to go for vacation. I want to travel. I want to go to Maldives.
Okay, you'll ask your question later. The other Gen Z on the other side.
Hello, room. My name is Peter Mwata from Net Company Intrasoft. I'm a business analyst.
Are you a member of a SACCO?
Yeah, sure.
Which SACCO?
Stima SACCO.
Why?
For them, I can take a loan without guarantors, and that is something I look into it majorly because I don't need guarantors for me to take a loan. So I just need a collateral, and that's enough for me because you'll find most times the people around you as youths, we are not on the same, we're not in the same circle, so it's so different. It's so difficult for me to get guarantors when my friend next to me and my family members are not in the same circle, so I don't know anyone. So
actually, I know the problem. Because Gen Zs don't speak to each other. They speak to the person that is 10,000 kilometers away from them, not the guy next to them.
Sure.
So thank you. So that's a demographic that you guys need to innovate for. So are your SACCOs ready?
I wanted to say, if you look in the market, there are lots of expression of interest. There's a lot of co-banking. So SACCOs are placing platforms to enable them now deal with the Gen Z because you need technology to meet their demands. The guy said he wants to travel.
Yeah. He's not interested in a shamba.
And did you notice his phone was all coming out of his hand? He's multitasking. He's here, he's tweeting, he's doing gig economy because he's working at the same. So is this a guy you tell that save to take a mortgage? Why would I lock my money in a house that I rarely live in? I can't take a car loan if I can Uber. So so they don't save the traditional SACCO way. So we have to use technology to make their needs and give them products that can still enable them save and support their businesses, as I say.
I agree. So I'm going to open it up now. So if you have a question, you can just raise your hand and a microphone will be brought to you. But as people are thinking through their questions, is this the time to re-engineer the SACCO?
Let me be controversial because I'm not a SACCO, so I can say what I want. The question about the Gen Z is very important because of two things. In my industry, the average working age for anybody is 3 years. If we employ a Gen Z, she asks you, how long have you been here? You say anything further than 5 years. I think that's a very long time to work in one organization. So the core values that the SACCOs previously used to have, in that you must have a stable salary, you must have people who will guarantee you, those are not there. So the SACCO today needs to look at what are we going to do to stay relevant in the Gen Z era. The Gen Z, like he says, is not interested in a house because he probably lives with his father in his parents' house. His pressures are right now in instant gratification things. I'm not waiting to buy a car. I'm not going to save to buy a car. I don't want to save to buy a house. I want to go on holiday. I want to see the world. I want to do these things. So as a SACCO, how do you serve that need as a SACCO? Sustainably, not just because, for example, he wants to travel. You give him a loan, he goes to America and he decides he doesn't want to come back. Then what happens? You as a SACCO needs to figure that out. And how do you then keep him interested? You're talking about technology. What are you doing with that technology? Because he's tweeting all the time. Do you have a product that enables them to tweet within themselves about your products, about your services, so that you can engage them? Do you talk to them or you send them emails, statements per month? Or do you send them daily updates? Your loan is up to date today, your loan is overdue, those kinds of things. Those are the things that get their interest. But if you wait for a monthly statement, that's a fortune to them because they don't have a month to wait. So those are the things that
a month is like a lifetime.
It's a lifetime for them. They want something like an answer today. If they want a loan, they want it now. It's not like me who will think 5 years, I want a house loan, I'll plan, save for the deposit, blah, blah. No. Them, they want a car, they want it today. So if they come to ask for a loan and you start telling them, fill this form, get guarantors, you've lost them. So you need to develop products that then says, if I want to travel, you're asking him, how much is the ticket? The money is now, where do I pay for the ticket? That's what he's interested in. So if we are not thinking like that, probably losing them. Now, outside that area, there's those SACCOs that are rural SACCOs, where we don't have so much about this kind of lifestyle we are thinking about. Those are more basic things, about bread and butter things. Those SACCOs, how are you going to develop them, number one? Number two, there are Gen Z in those areas who are also aspiring to be as sharp as this guy, but they are limited in terms of where they are. How are you going to bring them up to enable them achieve their aspirations? Those are the things I think we can discuss a bit more to see whether we can actually develop things that then serve that demographic.
Questions? Yeah, there's a question there, a question here. Make it succinct so that we can take more questions.
Okay. My question is to the regulator. We have something we call digital SACCOs. Yeah. What are you guys doing to empower the digital SACCO? Because, as we know, we are moving from the traditional way of doing things to the most digital way. So, as a regulator, what are you guys doing to make the process smooth? Because I'm talking from experience, it's tough to register a digital SACCO. That is one question. Point of correction: Gen Z, we don't stay with our parents. we have our own.
Okay,
our own
we've
answers here.
had you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, there is another question here. Umerusha mawe.
Yeah, thank you, the panelists. I just have a comment on the discussion that is going on, and I think it goes to the people, the technical people, when it comes to technology. As much as the technology is growing and you need to have the technology, the issue that comes up is the security. Because the Gen Zs and all these people, they grow with the technology. And if you look at it, the hackers are coming in and they're targeting SACCOs, because they know SACCOs are going into the tech without the infrastructures, without the security part of it. So the discussion that you're having, as much as the SACCOs are trying to reach to the members and use technology, the thieves, those who used to come and break the houses are now going into the digital platform to attack. So
okay, got it. Yeah, got it. There's another question, so we'll take the last question. Then you'll answer the regulatory. You'll take the security. That's your space. Yeah? Okay.
Great. My name is Lemuel Mangla from CIS Kenya. That's the Credit Information Sharing Association of Kenya. And my question is to Mbiwa. For the SACCOs that have opened their common bonds, maybe what measures should they take to address credit risk? Because I think the risks are now higher as compared to when these are closed bonds. Thank you.
You got the question?
Maybe you can repeat the last statement.
Oh, sorry. I think there's a gentleman who pointed out that they can actually be able to use their own security. They don't need to have a guarantor to actually get a facility. So, okay, it's more of a credit question. But so my question is, whenever you open the common bond, and there are SACCOs that are doing 5-6 times of the deposits, the risk is much higher, because the risk is much higher as compared to when you have guarantors, for instance. So maybe what measures are you taking, or what should SACCOs look into to address the credit risk, because it's now much higher as compared to before? Okay.
Yeah. So let me start with the one for Mr. Gen Z. So the regulator has recognized the digital SACCOs, and that's why the regulations for 2020 that we are passing in 2020, they were about 3 kinds of SACCOs: the BOSA SACCOs with 100 million and above of member deposits, the diaspora-based SACCOs, and the digital SACCOs. So all the digital SACCOs, regardless of the deposits that you have, you must be regulated. So if there is anyone here running a SACCO that is digital, you need to apply to be regulated. Yeah, so that's the case. But as we were doing the registration, there's a challenge that we noticed. Of course, when you say you're digital, it doesn't mean that you should remain faceless, because that is the challenge we are having with most of them. They are digital, yes, their services are digital, but they want to remain faceless. So what do I mean by faceless? There are no structures. There are no structures. This business of money is built on confidence. It's built on confidence, and if you can't guarantee that confidence, we as a regulator, we can't be happy. So we must appreciate the digital SACCOs. We can't run away from them. It's the future. Reading from the room, and it still connects with the second question about opening bond, because the market has dried. If SACCOs are naturally a niche product, if your SACCO is based within one employer, you can only recruit your members from one employer. It means if there's no employment, you have got no new members. So that's why they had to open bond. So when you open bond, you get members that you don't understand because it's outside your traditional members that you have dealt with. So the risk goes higher. So that tends to get tied with what the financial experts call you have to have the capital to build a strong base for you to manage the risks. And again, now you have to improve your internal processes and the collection procedures, including the digital procedures for collecting loans. You have to make it easy for those members who even don't know where your offices are, but they want to be your members, to be able to get money from you and also be able to make payment. So the question about what you deal with the risk, it comes down to a risk management framework. Of course, based on the standards in that area of credit and lending. Yeah. So and what is mostly affected when you start lending to people who are risky is your capital base, because now you have to start providing for those loans using, of course, the IFRS 9. There are those requirements, and they hit hard on your profitability and your capital. So you have to raise more money in terms of capital to be able to lend to risky clients. They may not be that risky as long as you can be able to collect the loans. So you also need to improve your collection methods to ensure those people that are not used to your business or you're not used to them, you're able to give services to them.
Okay. We have the security question.
Yeah, that's the real elephant in the room, if you ask me. Just to give you a perspective, frauds and cybersecurity was targeted at the financial institutions, that is the banks to begin with. We have invested very heavily as banking institutions in terms of cybersecurity and securing the systems within the financial system. The net effect of that is that the fraudsters are now moving to the lesser secure area of the financial system, and SACCOs have then become the most exposed in terms of fraud and cybersecurity. And why am I saying that? We have a Gen Z which is highly intelligent because they are very well read. Everybody now looking for a job has at least a degree, if not a master's, and most of it is tech-based. They are very sharp device users, so they understand systems very easily, very quickly. So if a SACCO implements a solution, you can imagine the Gen Z has the time to play with it, figure it out, before the management of the SACCO figures out the problems. And because these are old guys who prefer to just go by paper, they are not worried about the digital system. So we have a very big exposure in terms of security issues there. So the governance of these systems, as we apply these technologies, we need to look at what he mentioned about the people, bring up the people to scale to understand the implications of the systems and how to run them, then put in mechanisms to protect the systems, whatever the systems are. Because the fraudsters are now targeting SACCOs because they know, first of all, maybe the implementation in terms of the systems is not up to scratch. There is a disconnect, like you mentioned. There is a front office that is very highly tech. The back office still paper volumes and all that. So that gap is an opportunity for fraudsters. So I think we need to look at a holistic way of implementing these systems and ensuring the capacity to actually manage and govern those systems properly.
Awesome. So there's a question from an online participant, Wilfred, asking or saying WhatsApp bundles ought to be subsidized. Can banking apps negotiate for better rates with the internet service provider? Let's think of Mwananchi.
WhatsApp bundles. Safaricom. WhatsApp bundles. Sorry.
Okay, I think
probably I can rephrase this. I think this is somebody who's trying to say, okay, so we're using these banking apps or SACCO apps. and bandwidth is expensive. So, is there an opportunity to negotiate to make sure that
this is an opportunity for an innovative SACCO to come up with. For example, if we are a map country and bandwidth is a premium, because we know most people are using devices and they are relying on their own money to buy what they call credit. It's not WhatsApp bundles, it's basically credit to pump up your airtime. And so if a SACCO is going to give its mobile apps and all that on a mobile phone, then the biggest limiter for that person at the bottom of the pyramid is how do they get the financing to finance their bandwidth. And that's what he's asking. Can you subsidize? So if your SACCO is offering this service, can you then top up something to ensure that this person can then be able to access your system using the device they are using? So if, for example, I'm offering them a mobile app, and then they get a credit of 200 shillings per week or per month, to then use that to access the mobile app, that will make it attractive for them as opposed to them using their hard-earned money to buy credit to access your service. So I think that's what he's talking about.
I think so. But also, I think this could be a product in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway.
Actually, I was planning to respond. Let me just say it's possible for starters. The how can be established later. But just a thinking point, for instance, if you're using My Safaricom app, you can use My Safaricom app and it tells you clearly that you're not going to be charged any bundles for it. It's going to be free. So basically it is possible. Then the how is maybe we need to think about how we can do that, because that is actually a very, very valid point. If you're trying to address Gen Z issues, it's actually a very valid point.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to give everybody half a minute to just make their closing remarks, because I can see Mr. MC is looking at me and he wants to throw his mic at me. So
I'll close from using what Bole said. I think it's a high time SACCOs think about whether we need to look at the basic SACCO model, because now the Gen Z are speaking. Yeah, they are saying they are not tied to any employer. They are moving from one place to the other, but they still need the SACCO services. So, and SACCOs, the savings and the loans, they all rely on your savings, but and those guarantorship. So I think it's a high time we think about the SACCO model as the way we know it traditionally, and we see whether there are things that can change without upsetting the way people know it. And so we are open to, even if it requires change in policy. Yeah. So if there's a basis for that, we can always pioneer that change in the policy to ensure the SACCO survives the future. So we build the basis for the future SACCO that caters for everyone, regardless of their nature or their lifestyle. So we need to fit into the people's lifestyle so that our future as SACCOs can be guaranteed.
Thank you. Sydney?
I think we have to appreciate the role the SACCO industry plays in Kenya, and the industry is changing. Tomorrow, you'll do everything, all your banking within the SACCO without the need of a bank. I know we rely a lot to the bank, but there are discussions. If you look at the national payment system, all that. So SACCOs are pushing to be connected directly without the need of going to banking. So this is a place to be. If you are a member of a SACCO, then you should join a SACCO. Yeah? So in a few years' time, we'll be having a totally different discussion around SACCOs in the financial inclusion sector, without saying I'm a SACCO and I'm also a client for a bank. Because everything you'll do within the SACCO. And SACCOs are not, they're not just moving with technology without looking at the cyber. Because if you are doing all this online and digital transactions, then you also move with the cyber security. Because I know the discussion out there is that SACCOs are porous. SACCOs, it's just that people don't talk about it, but SACCOs have invested in cyber security a lot, because we are aware that once you go digital, then also your cyber security framework has to be robust.
But in short, I think as SACCOs, it's a time we think about innovating, and not just to make our work easier, but let's innovate to make our process efficient. Let's be agile as we do that, and let's think about how we can share information, because information is key. What is hurting us again mostly is that cross-platform sharing of information. Besides that, I think this is a very wonderful conversation, and we can extend it even beyond this session. Thank you.
Fidelis?
Yes. Just to say that the gap or the lines between banks, financial institutions, SACCOs, microfinance is blurring because of the technology enabler. What we need to focus is on the SACCO member and their deal and what they want. Because at the end of the day, we can have the greatest, best application systems in there, but if they are not serving our members, then you're not going to retain your members. So you just have a nice system that has no usage. So I think we still need to put that SACCO member and their need at the center of whatever innovation we are doing, to make sure that the real financial inclusion is the benefit of that member to actually bring up their life. Thank you.
I called that customer centricity. I think we all need to be obsessed about our customers, and we need to make it our problem to serve our customers better. I truly believe the SACCOs have made a massive impact, because it touches people at the core of humanity. But I think with innovation, with good governance, with looking at Gen Zs, SACCOs can have 10x impact in this country. 10x, I believe. But we need to get those things right. We need to innovate. We need to be able to look at the technologies that we're using and make them usable to everybody who. And let's recruit new members. Let's get the Gen Zs and the millennials into play. And with those few remarks, I want to thank you so much. Please give a round of applause to our panelists. And we can continue these conversations. This should not be the end of this. We can continue these conversations as we re-engineer the SACCO.